couple questions for y'all. The first one, who is your Lord? What is your religion? Who is your prophet? Now, I know this sounds crazy, but if you're one of those people that have been trying to get information and you come across this, or even this. All right, take a listen.
Assalamu alaikum. I am Sister lailanasheeba, the Managing Director and Founder of Sunnahfollowers Online Islamic University. As you know, we have classes every day beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we cover everything from Aqidah, which is your belief system, to Seerah, which are the stories of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the story of the companions. Please join us every day beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we are broadcasting and streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, DLive, Trovo, and Twitch. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum. Join us for the new series here at Sunnah Followers on the book called Termites by Sheikh Muhammad S. Adli, hosted and broken down by lailanasheeba. Please join us every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, right here on Sunnah Followers. Another Sunnah Followers exclusive, Not One of Us, written by Sheikh Muhammad S. Adli, broken down and brought to you by host lailanasheeba. Join us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, right here on Sunnah Followers.
Okay, inshallah, everybody can hear me. Inshallah, let me set this right. Ina alhamdulillah, wa salat, wa salam ala wa rasulullah. Welcome to our Aqidah class. And for this class, we've been speaking about allegiance. How when we speak about that shahada, we've broken down the meaning of the declaration of faith. When we testify to La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, we are not just testifying to believe in Allah and his oneness and that he's the only one worthy of worship. We're not just testifying that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the last messenger sent, but we're also testifying that our allegiance will be to Allah, and our allegiance is to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and our allegiance is to the Muslims. The Muslims, no matter who they are, no matter where they are, no matter what language they speak, what color they are, as long as anyone attests to La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, their blood, their honor, and their property is sacred, and our allegiance is to them. That's what we've been discussing for the past couple of months here in this class. And this is what the Shahada is all about. And today what I'm going to do, because I'm trying to make this really simple for you guys. I have a lot of new converts here. I even have some people who are interested in Islam and who haven't converted yet. And also I have here people who've been Muslim all their lives, but they've never fully understood their religion properly. So I'm going to today try to break down something that many of you struggle with. Even in our class yesterday with my cousin Mukhtar, some of you were questioning. A lot of the new Muslims and the old were asking about disbelief, certain actions that a person may indulge in or not indulge in. Do those actions take us out of belief and make us a kafir? A lot of Muslims struggle with this. And unfortunately, we're living in the days of fitan, the days of the ruwaybida. And I tell you guys that hadith all the time, who are the ruwaybida? The ruwaybida, these are people who have a lot to say about everything, but they know nothing. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said one of the signs of the last hour will be that there will appear amongst you many people who will be able to recite the Quran beautifully with their tongues, but it'll never go past their throats because they won't understand anything as to what they're saying. These people will take fatwa over the laws and words of Allah. They'll replace the hadith with fatwa. They'll replace the Quran with their opinions, what their sheikhs say. These are the ruwaybida. And we're living in that time. He was talking about this time that we're in now, where we have a lot of Muslim men and women who have memorized the Quran by heart. When I say memorize, I mean memorized how to sing it, how to recite it. But if you were to ask them, what are they saying? If you were to ask them to explain what those words that they're reciting mean, they won't be able to. If you were to give them a verse of the Quran, they will look at that verse and they will twist the meaning around to something that it doesn't mean. And no longer will they look to see how the and no longer will they look to see how the companions explained those verses of the Quran. They won't look to see what the companions said those verses of the Quran mean. They won't look to see what the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said those verses mean. Instead, it'll be their opinion, their sheikh. And this is the days we're living in. Y'all hear me recite this hadith a lot, because it's happening. And you turn on YouTube and you see a lot of young men, young Muslim men using the kafir word, calling other Muslims kafir, calling other Muslims innovators, calling other Muslims all type of atrocious names that we should never refer to another Muslim with. Oh, this brother's a kafir because he doesn't pray. This brother's a kafir because he doesn't agree with this. This brother's a kafir. Well, we're going to get to the bottom of this today. And because it seems to have so many of you confused. And one of the things that I tell you all the time is never use the K word. Never refer to another Muslim as being a kafir, even if you think he is. Because if you're wrong, and 9 times out of 10, you're probably wrong. If you're wrong and that person is not a kafir, it's going to come back down on you or your children. And I really believe that this is why we have a high apostasy rate with our children. This is why a lot of our children are not practicing the deen, because we have lived our lives as parents cursing, calling other Muslims kafir because of the actions they do, not knowing that the actions, and this is the thing that I'm going to talk about today, a person's actions may be that of disbelief. But can you say that that person does not truly believe in Allah? That's the question. It's all about actions and conviction. And this is what I'm going to break down today for you. Okay? Because I don't see that many daya breaking it down. Okay? A person can exhibit the actions of disbelief. For example, your mother may practice magic. The prophet said, anyone who practices magic has disbelieved in what I have come with. Okay, so she may be doing an action of disbelief, but can you call your mother a kafir out of conviction? That's the question, because maybe she doesn't know. You'd be surprised how many Muslims don't know that magic is a sin of disbelief, that magic is an action of disbelief. But they believe in Allah. That's the conviction. So I'm going to pause from chapter 17. We are supposed to begin chapter 17 of this book. Or is it 16? I think it's 17, whichever chapter. And I'm going to focus on breaking down how faith consists of different branches. And just as faith consists of different branches, disbelief has different branches too. And this is another hadith that a lot of Muslims don't understand and that you hear me use a lot. Okay? There's different branches of faith. And you can tell how strong a Muslim is in their faith based on their initial reaction when a hardship comes. That's the hadith from Bukhari. Whereas the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam walked past a woman who was mourning over the grave of a deceased relative. And he told her to have patience, and she yelled at him and sent him away. Later, when she realized that it was the prophet she had spoken that way to, she came to apologize. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, patience manifests itself at the first strike of a hardship. But that's not all he said. He also went on to say, and this hadith is Bukhari too, faith consists of many different branches. There's many different branches of faith. You can tell how strong a person is in his faith when a hardship occurs. That's the rest of that hadith. And this is something I tell you guys, when you're reading the hadith books, okay, you may come upon one statement that goes with a whole khutbah, because the Prophet used to give khutbahs. And you might read one part of that khutbah here, another part there, another part there. This is why you have to know the history of Islam, the whole story of it. So today what I'm going to do is speak about how faith has many different branches. And just as faith has many different branches, so does disbelief. This is wala, walbara. When we talk about iman, our faith, we're talking about el-wala. When we're talking about disbelief, we're talking about barra, which is disassociation. We're supposed to disassociate from those actions or convictions that oppose Allah and his teachings. And we're supposed to have allegiance, al-wala, towards everything that Allah commands and teaches. So let's put the PowerPoint up on the screen, and then you will see why we have to be careful referring to people as being kafir, because a person may do an action or a branch. A person may commit a branch of disbelief, but his heart still believes in Allah. Y'all understand? I'm trying to break this down in plain, simple English. And this is the problem. A lot of the daya that speak Arabic, they have a hard time, a very hard time telling you the meaning of things in English because it's a different language. Well, alhamdulillah, I've had great teachers of hadith, scholars of hadith. They're not living anymore except for Sheikh Morsi, alhamdulillah. But also I've had great translators of the English language. Plus I have a degree in communications and know my language. So I'm going to try to break this down to you guys. So hopefully I don't have to ever hear any of you brothers or sisters refer to another Muslim as being a kafir, because just because that person may be doing an action of disbelief when you don't know what their conviction is. Okay? And by the way, for you brothers out there, I'm basing this on the Quran and the authentic hadith with the understanding of the companions. I'm giving you the understanding that Ibn Abbas had about this topic and Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu. Okay? And this is also taken from a treatise written by Ibn Qayyim and Sheikh Qatani. Okay? That's for my brothers out there who get off into the scholar stuff. But you know me, I don't base it on nothing but Quran and authentic hadith with understanding of the companions. But this is just this is part of Walla Well Better too. Okay, but this is another class that I teach that I learned from my teachers, but you guys will recognize the information, inshallah. But anyway, let me put the PowerPoint up on the screen. All right. It has to be broken down in English correctly, because I don't like seeing all this kafir bashing that's going on. All right, so tonight we're going to speak about the branches of faith, how faith consists of different branches and how disbelief consists of different branches too. All right. First of all, faith, iman, is fundamental. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us in the authentic hadith, the source, Bukhari and Muslim, faith consists of many different branches. Some of the branches of faith are to pray 5 times a day, to pay the yearly zakat, to perform the Hajj, to fast the month of Ramadan. In fact, those are the pillars of faith. These are the fundamental pillars of faith that our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us of. You have to maintain the prayer. We have to maintain the zakat, the Hajj, the fasting, as well as truly understanding the concept of la ilaha illallah. That's fundamental. Okay? Also, there are actions I want you brothers to pay attention to me. Actions of the inner self, such as modesty, such as honesty, such as reliance upon Allah, fear of Allah. Those are branches of faith, such as patience. That's why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told that old woman, faith will manifest itself at the first strike of a hardship, and patience is a branch of faith. So you could see the fact that she couldn't handle the fact that she lost her loved one, and she was on the verge of transgressing the limits. She was wailing over this grave. You guys know the prophet said women that wail and men too over deceased is not of us. He's not of us. That's an action of disbelief. But he didn't call the woman a kafir. He didn't call her a kafir. He said that's an action of disbelief. Okay? Patience, he told her, shows itself at the first strike of a hardship. But he continued which is that talk with her, and said faith consists of many different branches. Okay? The least branch is to remove an obstacle from the road. Now, y'all know that hadith. All these hadiths, what are hadiths? Things the prophet said. The prophet said these things at the same time. He was talking to that woman. But you will see a one sentence here, another sentence there, but then you keep on and you'll find the whole thing. Okay? So he told the woman, faith manifests itself you can tell how strong a person is in their belief in Allah when they are first met with a trial. Because faith consists of different branches. Modesty is a branch of faith. Patience is a branch of faith. The least branch is to remove something from the road. All of us as Muslims are going through problems in our personal lives. We have the war against Allah. The war against Allah going on right now. Okay? But in addition to that, we all are faced with our own trials. Maybe you're dealing with a sickness. You've been diagnosed with a sickness. Maybe you're dealing with problems in your marriage with your husband. Maybe you're having problems with the children. Maybe you're an imam and you're having problems from the people in the community, the media. So all of us are dealing with some type of hardship. And Allah tells us that he will never test us with something that we can't handle. And one man's blue may be another man's strife. That means one man's problem may be another man's accomplishment. He's going to try us based on our level of faith. You can't handle what those Palestinians are going through in Gaza because you're not there in your belief system yet. But you can handle the fact that your husband and you are having problems in the marriage, or you can handle the fact that you were diagnosed with cancer. Y'all see that? So Allah will test us in accordance to our level of faith. You can't handle watching your children be blowed up in front of you, but you can handle the media attacking you. You can handle the people in your community thinking that you're too much of a renegade because you're calling them to the Sunnah. So we all have different trials. And like the prophet told that woman, faith will manifest itself when you meet that trial, what your initial reaction will be. She lacked patience. Because she lacked patience, she wailed, which is an act of disbelief. How are you meeting your trials in life? How are you dealing with your cancer? How are you dealing with your husband and your problems with him? How are you dealing with the problems in the community? How are you dealing with the media on your back? Are you panicking like she was doing? Or are you handling yourself with dignity and balance, knowing that you can deal with it, you can get through it, knowing that it's just a test? I'm not going to let these people cause me to transgress the limits of Allah. I'm going to handle it. That's how you know if you're a strong believer or not. A lot of you will come to me and say, Sister Layla, how do I know if I'm a good Muslim or not? How are you handling yourself under duress? How are you dealing with your problems in life? Because these are all different branches of faith. Or are you showing branches of disbelief? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Are you showing branches of disbelief? Let's put that PowerPoint back up. So some of the branches of faith are vital, such as making salat, paying zakat, fasting Ramadan. But there are other branches of faith that are not vital, such as picking up a tree branch off the road or something like that. Okay? And between those two extremes, there are other branches. Some are closely associated with La ilaha illallah, and there are other branches that are closely associated with removing obstacles. Patience. This woman transgressed the limits and was wailing over the deceased. That action, that is closely related to La ilaha illallah. Not performing the prayer. Say, for example, you don't pray. Not because you deny it. You're just lazy. Some of us are just too lazy, and we feel bad about not making that prayer. Okay? That's close to that La ilaha illallah. Okay? Witchcraft, magic, that may be close to the La ilaha illallah, because these are all actions that our prophet spoke about that can take you out of Islam. But again, can I say that person's a kafir? Let's keep going. So disbelief too, just like faith, is fundamental. And disbelief has its branches. As a branch of faith is related to your belief, the branches of disbelief are related to your disbelief in Allah. For example, just like modesty is a characteristic of faith, to not be modest is a characteristic of disbelief. Y'all get it? Just as honesty is a characteristic of faith, to be a liar and to be dishonest, that's a characteristic of disbelief. Y'all see it? I told you guys there are certain sins that fall in the category of disbelief. Okay? Just like there are certain actions that fall in the category of belief in Allah. Honesty. Remember, the prophet said one thing about a Muslim. A Muslim can commit sin. We're not perfect. But one thing that a believer can never do is lie. The believer always tells the truth. He's not capable of it. So honesty is a component of faith. So what does that say about a liar? Well, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us one of the signs of a hypocrite. And what is a hypocrite? A hypocrite is a person that says they believe in Allah, but their actions show they don't. This is a person that may have the conviction of believing in Allah, but their actions show they don't. And one of those components is he can't tell the truth. So just because a person lies all the time, can I call him a kafir? Can I say, oh, you're a kafir? No. You know, I can say he has those actions of disbelief. He or she exhibits the actions of disbelief. But if you ask that person, he'll tell you, I believe in Allah. And I know I'm wrong for lying. I know lying is bad. I don't deny that. I'm trying to change. Y'all get it? I'm trying to keep this simple and grassroots broken down English. Okay? American English. The most simple form. Grassroots. Okay? So, another example. Now, but when it comes to the prayers, zakat, hajj, and fasting, these are all branches of faith. But if you abandon any of them, then you fall into an action of disbelief. Y'all understand that? That's why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, a person who abandons the prayer is not of us. The person who abandons the prayer, and this is why you'll hear a lot of people like Dr. Ibrahim Jamali. Dr. Ibrahim Jamali, one of the scholars of our website, he will tell you that if you stop praying, you know, this is disbelief. You're a kafir. You're doing an action of kafir. He's not basically calling you a kafir. He's telling you you're doing an action of kafir. Because the Prophet said that. This is a pillar. To abandon any of those pillars, you are definitely, without a doubt, doing the actions of a kafir. To not fast Ramadan, to not pray your prayers, this is a problem. These are people we have to sit down with and talk to. We don't just say they kafir. Because maybe that person doesn't know the virtues of praying. Maybe they don't know that praying is an obligation. Maybe they don't know that they have to fast even though they're pregnant. Look how many Muslim women don't fast. They use pregnancy as an excuse to not fast. Well, it's because they were told that. They don't know. They didn't have a teacher like you guys do with me to tell you that even though you're pregnant, you still have to fast unless you fall in the category of high risk. So can I call those sisters who didn't fast because they were pregnant kafirs? No, they didn't know. But yes, it's an action that can take you out of Islam if you did know and refuse to do it. That's the key. And that's what my cousin Mukhtar was talking about yesterday. You know you got to pray, but you refuse it. I ain't talking about being lazy. I'm just saying you just flat out say, I ain't doing it. Let me give y'all an example. I remember 10 years ago, I had a man from Iraq, an Arab guy from Iraq, join my website. And it was during the month of Ramadan. I'll never forget it. Amina Fresno asked him, because he was talking about how he smoked cigarettes. And Amina Fresno asked him, how you smoke cigarettes? This is Ramadan. Ain't you fasting, brother? He told Amina Fresno, he said, I ain't got to fast. She said, why come you don't have to fast? He said, because my mother is such a good Muslim. I know that Allah is not going to put me in hell because of the deeds my mother's done. Because my mother is such a good Muslim and my mother prays every day, all day and night, and she fasts all the time, even though she ain't got to. I know I ain't got to do nothing, so I refuse to fast. Now, that's a person that's got a problem. And even when we explained to him that his mother's deeds ain't got nothing to do with him, he still said, I don't want to talk to y'all. Y'all can't tell me anything. I don't have to fast, and I refuse to do it. I ain't ever doing it, and none of that. My mother is all I need to get into heaven. This is somebody that's got a problem, a big problem, even after being spoken to about it. Okay? Also, to rule, another example of a branch of disbelief is to rule by what Allah has revealed. This is a quality of those who have faith, but to not rule, to rule by another law, that's another example of a person that may be in a branch of disbelief. And here's where my lecture comes from, you young brothers. Ever since this Allah, and by the way, I say Allah sent this war, not Israel. Israel is just the puppet strings that Allah pulled. Ever since Allah sent this war, a lot of the young brothers have been sitting on the internet in their little YouTube channels and chat rooms, calling Muslim countries, and America too. I'm going to throw America in there too, because I take offense. I'm an American Muslim. Hello. They've been calling all the Arabic countries kafir, and even said ain't no Muslims in America. Now, how can you sit there and say ain't no Muslims in America too? Threw us in there too. So I took offense. I like to know what I am. If I ain't a Muslim, what am I? Because the kafir show don't accept me as being anything like them. And now I hear the Muslims saying there ain't no Muslims in America. Well, what the heck are we? Who? What are we? Okay, but you brothers are sitting around calling a whole country of people kafir, calling governments kafir. I mean, all of this, it's just sad. And you wonder why Allah has sent war to you and to me and to the rest. Just because a person may not rule by the laws of Allah, does that give you the right to say that person is a kafir? Okay? You brothers have to really think about it. So disobedience comes from disbelief, and obedience comes to belief. But again, it's due to belief. But again, what you guys have to understand is there's branches of the two. The branches of faith consist of two types: speech and action. Speech and action. Okay? The branches of disbelief also consist of two types: speech and action. Speech and action. When we talk about faith, the type of speech, these are those whose disappearance results in the disappearance of faith itself. This is also true of those branches of faith that are connected to the action. When the deed is left unperformed, the result is an eclipse of faith. Do y'all understand that, or is that too high above you? Okay? For example, the person that doesn't pray. To abandon the prayer. This is an action of disbelief. But what does that person say out their mouth? Does that person say they don't believe in the prayer? Does that person say that they don't believe that they're committing a sin? Does that person say, I know I should be praying? Make do it for me, help me, guide me to be a better Muslim. Speech and action. And again, the same with the disbelief. Your mother, your father, due to their culture, what they were taught, they don't see nothing wrong with magic. They think practicing magic is okay. Okay? But it's an act of disbelief. But if you talk to them, do they say deny la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah? Maybe they didn't know. Nobody told them. It's a cultural thing. Okay? So we have to understand that faith is a matter of both your words and your actions. And that's the same with disbelief too, guys. The words include the private statements you say to yourself. That's called your inner conviction. And the public statements that you say to the world, which is your declaration of faith. All right? As for our actions, the private actions, that's the inner resolve, the sincerity, and the intention known to the heart and known only by Allah. Whereas your public actions are the outward actions that you show the world. So can I say, we already know wearing a hijab is an obligation. All Muslim women are obligated to cover their bodies when they leave the house. Not just a hijab, not just a khimar. Like I said, your hijab is supposed to be like mine. It's supposed to cover your breasts, sisters. Allah is clear. He says, draw your a hijab over your bosom, your khimar. It's the word is khimar, over your bosom. That's why I always wear any hijab I got on is hanging down. You ain't gonna see my breasts. And I got some bad boys too, but they covered up. And I'm gonna wear an abaya. Allah also says, wear your jilbab. Jilbab, your overgarment. Jilbab means overgarment. Overgarment to cover my womanly parts. That's baggy enough where you can't see the shape of my thigh, the shape of my derriere, the shape of my leg, or the shape of my arms, or my foot, where my foot is slim, thin. So for those Muslim women that don't dress like this, can I say they kafir? They're doing an action. Maybe their outward action to the world may be in denial of a command of Allah. But can I honestly say that sister's a kafir? If I talk to her, maybe she'll say, well, I didn't know we could look like you. I was told that we can't wear colors. How many of you women been told that? I was told that makeup is haram too. I was told that I have to be ugly, that I have to put a bag on my head and make a hole in the middle of it like a cyclops. You don't know what these women have been told, which is why they stopped dressing that way completely. So again, actions and speech are two separate entities. Now we already know the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said whatever is in the heart is going to emanate through the limbs. Well, the simple fact that those sisters don't dress properly, that shows that their faith is weak. But can I say they're kafir? Maybe they don't have enough knowledge. You know, strong iman comes from true, correct knowledge of the religion. A lot of the Muslim women and men today, you guys are getting your knowledge off the internet, and you're learning from a bunch of men and women who are not qualified to teach. That's the reality. 97% of the Muslim men and women that y'all are taking y'all knowledge from ain't qualified because they don't know the hadiths. They don't know nothing about the companions. They don't even know the hierarchy of the companions. All they can do is sing the Quran. So that's one of the reasons why a lot of Muslims today are engaging in actions of disbelief, because they haven't learned the correct knowledge. The people of the truth, people like me, they run away from. Because again, that first hadith I talked about, these are the days of the Ruwaybidah. And who are the Ruwaybidah? They're the people that speak with the beautiful accents, the beautiful voices that tell you the things that you want to hear, not the things that you need to hear. So most of the people are taking their information from the Ruwaybidah. And that's probably why they're not dressing properly. They're not praying. They're not showing the outward faith. But they may believe in Allah. They just don't have the proper guidance and knowledge. Because remember, the prophet said in those days, the people of the truth will be hated. They'll look at us as people of falsehood, the way many of you do. You look at me as a person of falsehood, but y'all run to those women that look like nuns and think they telling y'all the truth, when those women are so misguided, it ain't funny. Real misguided. Whew. Same with you brothers. Y'all listen to those famous celebrity men, with the trim beards, talk their stuff, use those eloquent words. And the brothers that break it down like lailanasheeba, y'all, we're mean, we're harsh. Y'all run away from them. Don't want to hear them. We're people of falsehood. That's the day of the Ruwaybidah. Okay? So going around calling people kafir, you got to think about it. So the Prophet, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he told us faith is connected to the heart. Whatever's in the heart will manifest through the actions. If your heart does not know inward obedience, you will not be able to obey outwardly. But if your heart followed and obeyed, then you too will do the same. That's what this hadith means. And that's again what the prophet meant when he told that woman who was wailing, it's in the heart. The faith will emanate through your actions. And it's the same with disbelief too. Again, a person can be disbelieved because of stubbornness. That's the way Iblis was. Or a person, and if a person disbelieves due to stubbornness, it's going to show through his action. Like that man that came into my website 10 years ago and told Amina Fresno he don't have to fast during Ramadan. He refuses and never will fast. That's stubbornness. And it's showing through his actions. So he wasn't fasting. He was smoking his cigarette, speaking to us, not fasting. To stubbornly deny that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam came with knowledge from Allah. To stubbornly deny Allah's names, Allah's attributes. This kind of disbelief is the kind of disbelief that Iblis has, and this will invalidate you as a believer. That's a person that is a kafir. A kafir, an unbeliever, is a person that denies without a doubt that Allah is one. They deny that the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is the Prophet Muhammad. To deny any of Allah's laws, to deny any of Allah's names, to deny who the Prophet Muhammad was, that is a pure kafir, without a doubt. And that person's going to tell you that, and his actions show you that. That's without a doubt. Okay? But another form of disbelief through the actions. This might be the person that doesn't pray, like we said. This may be the person that practices magic, like we said. This may be the person that rules by laws other than Allah. And yes, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did say, whoever rules by other than what Allah has revealed, whoever abandons the prayer is a disbeliever. He said that. But again, actions. That's disbelief in actions. Disbelief in actions. Conviction is totally different. And let's talk about conviction. A person can do an act that can take them out of Islam. But when you talk to them, they'll tell you that they believe in Allah. This is called an action, but to say a person is a true kafir, they not only just do the act, but they also say with their tongue that they don't have to do the act either. For example, the Prophet said, whoever goes to a fortune teller and believes what that person says, or any man who commits sodomy with his wife, these people are free of what has been revealed to the Prophet. That means that these are actions of disbelief. They're doing the action, having sodomy with your wife. You're doing an action of disbelief. Going to a fortune teller, you're doing an action of disbelief. But again, if the man thinks it's okay to sodomize his wife after being talked to, I'm going to do it anyway. Ain't nothing wrong with it. It's my business. Or I'm going to continue to go to the fortune teller. Now the person's a true kafir. But again, it's not for you or me to do. To refer to a person as being a true kafir, that person has to sit down with the people of knowledge, the true people of knowledge. So those true people of knowledge can talk to him, talk to her, explain things to him, explain things to her. And if that person then says, I still deny, that's a kafir. Do y'all get it? I'm trying to break this down. So there's a separation between actions and words. This is why, as Muslims, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, don't call each other kafir. Don't curse each other, because you don't know what's in that person's heart. He may have the actions of that, but what's in his heart? Maybe he don't know. So never use the K word. And that's the thing that I want to emphasize with the young brothers here. Stop bashing each other. Stop calling other brothers and sisters kafirs. And by the way, who is your sheikh? Your sheikh may not be nobody to sit down with. I'm sorry. Let's just talk about it. Your sheikhs come a dime a dozen. We can bake them all. Shake and bake. Hello. Shake and bake them. They come a dime a dozen. I'm talking about real ulama. I'm talking about real scholars. I ain't talking about your circle brother who you made a scholar because he got a little bit more knowledge than you. But if I was to look at him, he ain't got nothing. Okay? So this doesn't mean that your circle of people can sit down with him. or her and talk to them, because your circle of people may be just as numbskull as you are. Okay? The real ulama has to sit down. Someone from the real ulama has to sit down with them and talk with that person. You understand? Because I'm here to tell you the truth. Most Muslims don't know how to pray. Your little circle of scholar, he might be a twirler. Your circle of scholar may just follow blindly a madhab and think he can't raise his hands. A lot of these so-called scholars are just follow madhabs, or they follow just one particular person. How many of them are basing their findings on what the companion said? So just because your circle of friends sat down and told somebody you going to hell because you don't pray, don't mean that that person's a kafir. Y'all understand that? Because shakes come a dime a dozen. Shake them up in a bag and bake them. Shake, bake. Real simple. All right? So now, I want y'all to ponder this. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if a person says to his brother in Islam, you're an unbeliever, then one of them will become that. And again, this is why I think that there's such a high apostasy rate, and our children, a lot of times it comes down on our kids. We go around cursing other Muslims, and we wonder why we raise our children, and our children end up not practicing the deen because you called that brother over there kafir. And that brother ain't no kafir. You got mad and bashed that sister on the internet and said she was a kafir. So now Allah done took it out of you, out of your child. We have to be careful. Okay? Also, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said a person may keep the law of Allah and not exceed his limits and not go near what has been forbidden, and may rush to do good deeds, and may fulfill Allah's commands only according to the depth of his faith. That's my dalil. That hadith there is what I rested on. That's the dalil. You can't go around calling a person a kafir. That's probably all he knows. Maybe his faith is, all she knows is to put a rag on her head and wear her blue jeans with a top on. That's all she knows. That's her level of faith. She's dressing according to her level of faith. But can you call her a kafir? Can you call her a prostitute or something? That brother prays 3 times a day. That's in accordance to his faith. We have to be careful, because people practice, like the Prophet said, according to what they know. And unfortunately, most Muslims today don't know the basics, because these are the days of the Ruwaybidah. Most Muslims don't know how to dress. They don't know how to pray correctly. They don't know the lawful. They don't know the unlawful. So they're practicing in accordance to their faith. So either educate them or make dua for them, but don't go around cursing them. Y'all understand what I'm saying? And I hope I'm keeping it clear. Educate them, make dua for them, but don't curse them. SubhanAllah. So let's see how well you guys understood this. Hold on. Yeah, there it is. That's the quiz. I got a quiz for you. Let's see how well you guys understood this. Here's the first question. The Prophet Sallallahu alayhi wasallam said faith consists of many branches. Tell me some of the branches of faith, guys. Who can get on the mic and give me some branches? Go ahead. List some of the branches of faith. Come on, let's get this going. This ain't hard. You should have been listening. Let's go.
Prayers, zakat, hajj, fasting.
Okay, those are the pillars. Anybody else? I want some more branches. She gave the branches everybody knows. Give me some more branches of faith. Let's go. They should start rolling off.
Modesty, patience, and at least remove something from the
Okay, modesty, patience, picking up something from the ground. Give me some more.
And honesty.
Honesty, that's a branch. What else?
fear,
Fear of law. What else? Certainty of faith. Kindness. Is kindness a branch? Is kindness a branch? What else? Come on, let's get some more. Y'all should be running these off. Kindness. What else?
Being modest, being truthful and honest.
Okay, what about compassion? Is that a branch?
yes,
Empathy. Is that a branch of faith?
yes,
What about having knowledge of the religion? Is that a branch of faith?
yes, action.
See, these are the type of answers I'm looking for. Y'all could given the obvious. I want you guys to learn to think out the box. What about knowledge? What about sincerity? What about trust? What about being consistent? Consistency. Is that a branch of faith? Is consistency a branch of faith?
Yes,
What about being punctual? Is being punctual or being on time, is that a branch of faith?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Y'all got to think outside the box. You guys should have been able to name all kind of stuff. All those good things that we don't have as Muslims, like punctuality, like knowledge. What about understanding? Is that a branch of faith?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. See, these are the type of answers I want y'all to give. You guys are going to have to start thinking out the box because we're living in terrible times. Allah is the bringer. Allah is the willer. He willed this to happen, what's happening. Y'all got to stop blaming everybody except yourself. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whenever we deviate away from la ilaha illallah, whenever we deviate away from wala wal bara, Allah will send repercussions to us. It's time that you Muslims hold yourselves accountable for what's happening. How can you help the people over there? Help yourself. That's how you can help them because they already above you. They way ahead of you. They don't need nothing from you or me. Help yourself. Change yourself. Learn your deen. Stop calling people kafirs because their understanding is different than yours. I did the class, I did a short. Let me show you how ignorant we are as a nation. A lot of Muslim women don't understand that once you get married, you have to obey your husband. Obedience to your husband supersedes your parents. I didn't make this law. Allah did. Some uneducated child saw my short And she typed on there, you should go into, you sister, you should learn. First of all, I'm old enough to be her grandmother. Secondly, I've been teaching this dean for over 40 years. She had the nerve to put her comment saying, you need to learn about Habiba. Maybe the prophet told her to not let her father sit on his couch. But you can't say that I can have to obey my husband over my parents. I didn't say it. Allah said it. Number one, I did the whole story of Habiba, and I sent her a link to my Heroines of Islam. I said, and sister, I didn't make the law. Allah did. It's just my job as a daya to convey it. It ain't my fault that you're ignorant and you don't know the rights that your husband have over you. Maybe you should join my classes so you can learn. That's why the short is there. My shorts are there to show you what you are missing, what you don't know about your deen. Most women don't know that you obey your husband over your mother. Most of them don't. That's why we have a high divorce rate. Learn your rights. Learn the rights of your husband. Learn your deen, and maybe you can have a happy marriage. Okay? But this is an example of how ignorant we are as a nation today. You want to know, what can you do to help Palestine? What can you do to help you? You better change the condition of yourself. Get a clue. Because them Palestinian women know that there is no obedience over their mother when it comes to their husband. They do what they know that their husbands come first and foremost. They know that. So I don't think you can help them at all. You're too ignorant. Okay? Learn the deen. All right, let's look at the next question here. And I want some better answers. Also, wait a minute, did I skip one? Is this the same question? Was that, guys? Okay, we did that one, the branches. Okay, here's the next one. Next one. When faced with a hardship in life, what are some branches of faith that may manifest itself about you? And by the way, when these branches manifest, they should tell you what you need to work on. What are some of the branches of faith that may or may not manifest when you're faced with a hardship in life? Who can answer that?
Patience is one.
Exactly. Patience is one. What's some more that might manifest?
Disbelief is another.
How? Okay.
Disbelief and knowing that Allah gave you, put on you what you have. Disbelief and knowing that He will take care of it.
Okay.
And knowing that He lays some burden on you and greater than you can bear. I mean, you could almost go downhill.
Okay. Well, this is about faith,
understanding.
This is about faith, not disbelief. Okay. For this question, I want y'all to tell me, when you're faced with a hardship, what branches of faith, not disbelief, what branches of faith may show itself? Patience is one. Good job. Acceptance is another. Give me some more.
Tolerance.
Tolerance. Good job. What else?
Did she say tolerance?
Yes.
She said
like your knowledge on how to handle the situation.
Exactly. Knowledge may manifest. You can see how knowledgeable you are when a hardship happens. Yes. What else?
Empathy.
Huh?
Empathy.
Yes, you can see if you're an empathetic person. Exactly. So you guys got it. You know, that's why I'm always telling you, want to know how strong your iman is. What's your reaction when something happens? What are you doing? Are you showing patience? That's what the prophet told this woman. You weren't showing patience. You weren't showing tolerance. certainty of belief. That's another one that may manifest. Acceptance of the qadar of Allah, like Ifti said. That's another one. So again, guys, this is what I want y'all to do. Whenever you receive bad news about something, even if it's like you were told that you failed an exam in school, you were told that you failed your driver's test, you were told that your reservations were canceled, look at your initial response. Are you handling it with patience, dignity, tolerance, acceptance, or are you freaking off? You going off cussing and throwing cheers and all of that. Okay. Look at the next question. What are some branches of disbelief that may manifest when you're faced with a hardship? Now, this is disbelief, not faith. What are some branches of disbelief that may show itself when you're faced with a hardship?
Anger, blame.
Good job. Anger, blame. Oh, that's a really good one. What else?
The opposite of acceptance, which is
Good job.
inacceptance.
Denial. Good job, Murar. You on this. Denial. How many of us go into denial? We go into denial. Good job. What else? Denial is a form of disbelief. Not accepting the qadar of Allah. That's a branch of disbelief. Cursing, profanity. Profanity is a branch of disbelief. Rejection, good job. Rejecting the decree of Allah. That's a branch of disbelief. You guys get it? So faith and disbelief consist of different branches. Do y'all understand what I'm teaching here? Actions. Your actions are the branches of what holds in your heart. Whatever is in your heart is going to show through your actions. Good actions are actions of belief. Bad actions are actions of disbelief. That's how easy this is. Y'all get it? Okay, let's look at the next question. Give me an example of an action that falls in the category of disbelief, but the person may not be a disbeliever. Give me an example of an action. What's an action that falls in the category of disbelief, but that person may not be a believer, a disbeliever rather, in his or her heart? Give me an example.
One example is being saying that you don't have to pray. So it couldn't be the person might not know how to pray, or the person just could be lazy.
Okay, she said, listen to her answer. She said an example would be a person saying that he doesn't have to pray. Now, is that an action of disbelief, guys? That the person can still be a believer?
To say it, to actually believe it, so I should change what I said.
Wait, let's keep it like that. I want to see how they understand this. She said, if a person says that they don't have to pray, that's an action of disbelief, but that person can still be a believer. Is that true? Is that statement true? Why or why not?
No, because if they believe, because they're going against what Allah ordered. Allah ordered prayer.
No. But what makes them go against it? What did they do?
Because they don't believe they have to.
They said it.
Right. Faith consists of two things. Actions and words.
Yes.
This person denied it in his actions and his speech. So that makes him a kafir. Y'all understand that?
Yeah.
To deny something in your actions and your speech, you are a stone kafir. What I taught you guys today is that there are a lot of people out there who display actions of disbelief, but they don't deny it with their tongue. If a person has the action and denies it with his tongue, that's the kafir. Y'all get it?
Yeah, I understand now.
So
I
she gave the wrong example, but I'm glad she gave it. Okay, so now let's go back to the question. The question is, I want y'all to give me an example of an action that falls in the category of disbelief. However, that person may not be a disbeliever.
Pooping and hollering and trying to pull your son out the grave.
Exactly. Wailing over the dead. Like the prophet said, whoever wails over the dead is not of us. Okay, but unless that person admits it out their tongue that it's okay, we can't call them a kafir. Give me another example.
Practicing magic, doing astrology.
Okay.
Going to worshiping the graves.
Good job. Now, what is it that would make those people stone believers who did those actions?
You mean stone disbelievers?
Yeah, stone disbelievers, yeah.
They said it's okay to do
right.
it.
If they said it's okay. Exactly. Exactly. Do y'all get it? Unless that person has been talked to by the people and it's been explained to that person by the qualified scholar and they still deny it with the tongue, we don't call them a kafir. Y'all understand that? And that's the point of this. A person can do the actions of a disbeliever, but unless they announce it with their tongue too, after being talked to by the bona fide, qualified scholar, we don't use that term. Y'all understand that? Good job. Any questions about today's lecture?
Say this person don't know they're not supposed to be doing magic and all that. Just because they don't know, they still Muslim, but I ain't gotta hang around with them for them to put something on me, right?
Okay, now that's a different topic which of common sense that y'all should know. I want y'all to know.
I mean, I know that, but
okay, what do y'all think? If you know a Muslim that you are not a scholar of this deen, but there is a Muslim over there that you know practices magic, guys. She wants to know, should you hang around with that person? What do y'all think?
No, stay far away from that person.
But can you call that person a kafir?
No.
Right. That's my point. Just like that sister over there, she don't wear no hijab. So that's a different topic. We talked about wala. You want to surround yourself with what kind of Muslims? What kind of Muslims do we surround ourselves with?
Practicing Muslims.
Practicing Muslims, Fresno. But I'm not teaching that today. I'm teaching about the difference between kafir and calling people kafirs. You should know you don't hang around with nobody that's being bad. Do I hang around with drug addicts? Should we hang around with Muslims that smoke drugs, fornicate, adulterate, gay rape? No. Okay. But this class is about y'all, not you guys. You young brothers calling people kafir. Okay.
I have a question. The person who commits suicide.
Now, this is something different. What if a person commits suicide? That's a sin of what?
Disbelief.
Yeah, so that's a different topic.
Okay.
Plus, they ain't here. They gone. They killed themselves. They kafir. We ain't talking about that. I'm talking about you guys going around referring to people as being kafir because they don't wear hijab, because they don't pray, because they don't agree with you, because I told you something that you never heard. But you calling me a kafir because I told you that Allah said a woman has to obey her husband over her parents. I'm a kafir now. Because you never knew that. We got to stop using this kafir word. And by the way, I didn't even exhibit any actions of kafirism. Y'all understand? Any other questions?
But I just had a question on mine. When I was finishing it up and I said that the person can be just ignorant or the person can just be lazy, would that still be considered?
Lazy or ignorant
for
about
the prayers? For the prayers? For the prayers?
What about them?
Oh, no, I was saying the answer that I gave as far as a show of disbelief, would that still be considered as a branch of disbelief?
Okay, so you're saying if a person doesn't pray because they're lazy? Okay, I want you to answer that. If a person doesn't pray because they're lazy, what do you think?
He just lazy. He ain't say what no Muslim. He just lazy.
They're still a believer. They're just
unless
lazy.
they do
They're
what?
weak.
Unless they say I ain't got to pray.
Exactly. So you got to have words, guys. You just can't go around. This is what those Mutazilite mean, but they said in a bad way. You can't judge me. Because you don't see me wearing a hijab, you gonna call me a kafir? Maybe I don't know it's an obligation unless I say it out my mouth that I ain't gotta wear one ever. Cause whatever. You understand, Amina? Mina?
Yeah, I understand now.
Yeah, we don't go around calling people kafirs. Just you. That's a word that I want everyone listening to me to take out their vocabulary. Don't ever use that word with another Muslim.
Because it's hella deep. If I say you a kafir and I'm lying, I'm gonna be one.
Or if not
watch our words. So it might fall on my kids, my grandkids, anything.
That's why, and like I say, I really believe that this is why a lot of us have children that don't practice the deen, because we done cursed them with this kafiring, bashing, like these brothers are doing on the internet today. And it's sad. Like that little girl call herself doing to me today. I keep telling you girls, I want you little girls to know I ain't your age. I don't know what's wrong with these little girls. Leave me alone. I'm an old woman.
Respect has gone out of the window, let alone respecting your elders. It's just all gone out of the window.
That's
People
another
don't
one.
respect their teachers.
That's another one. What about that? Is respect a branch of faith?
Yes.
Yes, it is. That's another branch of faith. The branches of faith are gone. Most of us don't have we have more branches of disbelief than we do belief. So do you guys understand that now? And do y'all understand that hadith, faith, has different branches? And now do y'all understand when I tell you, you can tell how strong you are in your belief system when a hardship happens? How do you react? I get anxiety. I always get anxiety when something happens, but I try to control my thought. I don't freak out. I try to maintain my balance. I try to maintain my thought, but I get anxious. I'll start hyperventilating, but I try to maintain my cool and think, rationalize. All right, so mashallah, guys, tomorrow we're going to go ahead and go into chapter 17. Is it 17, y'all? Chapter 17 of the book. Go ahead and read it. And but I had to address that because some of the young brothers were so confused. They read these hadiths and don't understand the meaning. Yes, the person who abandons the prayer, yes. But the prophet was speaking about being a disbeliever in action. Disbeliever in action. Okay. All right. Any other questions? or comments? All right, please support this dawah effort, guys. I strongly encourage you guys. We need donations. It's almost the end of the month. We need donations to cover our website expenses, guys. You know, it costs $2,000 a month for this website, and I'm always adding more stuff here. Please scan the QR code and support us. So we have another class tonight at 9. Inshallah, I'll be logging back in at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Hadith class. So make sure everybody is here for that. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Yes, sad.